have a question for you. What are the thoughts in your head? We get so caught up on those thoughts in our head, the stories we tell ourselves, and the roadblocks we create for ourselves. The National Science Foundation did some research and found that 80% of our self-talk is negative.
Mm.
And 95% of that is repetitive. So not only are you saying negative things to yourself, but then you're repeating those things over and over. And it can take decisive action to turn that around, to even be aware of it, and then to turn it around. I'm Dr. Michelle Fritsch, co-founder of Propel Comprehensive Wellness. I thank you for tuning in to our Wednesday Wellness Chat. In the month of January, we've been talking about our personal risks, and that's different person to person. And it's easy to forget about them or ignore them and just carry on. But we have found in our quest to make sure that people near retirement with a solid plan, to stay fully engaged in life, to live with purpose, and to have the health to sustain them long term, that we've got to look at risks. We've got to take a deep dive into what are they and what can we do to mitigate or minimize them. So today, we're still on that theme, but there's a particular thing that I very much want to talk about, make you aware of, and help you avoid. So I will first want to talk about that when people retire, often you're nearing retirement, you've got all of those final goals to reach, all of the succession planning to do, so many final dinners and final breakfasts and opportunities to be with people and to sort of just wrap up a career well done. That too often we find that people have the big party on Friday, massive celebration of retirement. And when Monday comes and there are crickets, that negative self-talk can take over. Who am I? Who really am I? I am forgotten. I'm not part of anything anymore. I'm no longer relevant. That kind of self-talk can rapidly lead to a negative spiral. So it's the reason that anytime you engage with Propel, the very first thing we do is the life purpose scan. And that's why I'm wearing this bright, crazy shade of orange. It's my life purpose scan color. It's our logo color. This tool helps identify where are those elements where you might be vulnerable to not only negative self-talk, but to the growing number of scams out there that know you've got self-talk that's negative and they're ready to completely take advantage of that and hurt you in disastrous ways. And I do not mean to be such a negative person, but now that I'm seeing these and I'm seeing how prevalent they are, I've got to share this with you and make you aware. So since the internet has existed, anytime you've got something that could be good, somebody's going to find a way to also create a negative element of it. And especially since we've had online profiles with social media and dating apps, the rise in romance scams is just exponential at the moment. To date, billions, if not trillions of dollars have been scammed from people across the world. It was kind of bigger in Asia for a while. Now it's hit the United States very hard. And the numbers again are going up rapidly to the point that the FBI actually has, if you go to ic3.gov, you can report your suspicions of these scams. It has become so prevalent that they've got an entire branch of the FBI making it possible for us to report these things and help people, hopefully, get out of them before it's disastrous. So let me back up for a second and explain what these are and what I believe to be the recipe. I've been researching these a lot lately, and this seems to be the most effective at the moment recipe that's being used. Find somebody online. Get to know all that you can about them. And if you're like most people, you've got a pretty significant online presence. Even if it's just in professional venues, Google yourself and see how much information is out there. So, with the first interaction, usually through a dating app or a social media platform of some kind, express some commonality. So, I love hiking in the woods, let's say. So, somebody might approach me and say, "Oh my goodness, I love to hike too. Have you been to this location? Have you been to that location? What sorts of hikes do you want? How long of a hike do you take? Whatever. Just start kind of getting to know me because we have something in common. Develop a friendship with me. Keep the conversation going. One of the telltale signs of these scams is that friendship turns into something more intimate and trusted pretty quickly. Even though you've never in person seen this person, they are quickly getting to know you more intimately. Now, a piece of that is as they're talking to you, asking questions, having a normal conversation, they're getting to know your vulnerabilities. Where are your weak points? Where are your insecurities? Which all comes down to what is your negative self-talk? And they have found ways to ask the questions where you just give all that information away, usually rather quickly. And they're going to turn that around and make you feel incredibly special and absolutely needed. If you feel like nobody loves you, they're going to love you like no other. If you feel like no one appreciates your particular skills or talents, they're going to appreciate them and just keep poking those open areas to fill you up in all the areas where you feel your negative self-talk is telling you that you're not good enough. So they've got it down to literally a science of how to make you feel extraordinary when you feel like you're not appreciated at work, maybe you're not appreciated at home, maybe your kids, your spouse just don't fully appreciate you. They'll fill all those nuggets, and in doing so, gradually be pulling you away from your real relationships and creating deep emotional attachment to this fake person. And then gradually, money gets involved typically. In the early days of these scams, it was now that you love me, my car broke down. I need $2,500 to pay for my car repair. I just can't believe I let myself run out of money. So it was personal money, helping that person with individual needs, and their needs would just grow over time. I had a client once where had a girlfriend in another place, and something was always breaking. Her pipes would burst at this time of year every single year, and her car would break down, and she would have a medical issue, and something was always happening, and he was always sending her more money. But now it's changed. Now, a number of them are looking for people that have accumulated some wealth, and so they're going to help you grow your money. A lot of them right now are around cryptocurrency. So if you invest in this very secure, very progressive, rapidly growing your money investment, then your money's going to grow. So you're taking care of your family, you're taking care of yourself in even bigger ways than you could with your regular using the bank and regular investments sorts of strategies. The next thing that they're doing is, again, that relationship between you and them is just getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And they're finding ways to just sort of consume all of your emotional energy so that you're not even listening to anyone else around you. And so at first, the money grows. You see your money in that account, that initial, just a little trial investment, just no big deal, just a little bit of money. And you see it grow, and they make it accessible to you. So if you want to pull some out to do something, now that your $10,000 is $25,000 and you want to go buy something, you can pull your money. It looks like, oh, wow, this really works. The money grows rapidly. I can access it anytime. Then they ask for the big money. You make the really major investment. And that's usually when things start to change. There are reasons now that the money's not accessible. It will be soon. It will be soon. But right now, that money's just not accessible. And then you can imagine kind of where this goes at some point. Usually people realize they've been scammed out of massive amounts of money. But even worse, in my mind, is they've often cut off relationship with the real people in their lives. So then they realize that this entire relationship, this complete emotional download with this person has been a scam. They've never met in person. They've made multiple plans to meet in person and always something comes up. And there's a list out on the internet of the reasons these fake people can't meet. My mom got sick or some sort of health emergency. I got called away on work. Oh my goodness, I had this big client that just really needed me because I'm so good at what I do. So I needed to be there for this event. There's always a reason. So when the people reach this point where the money's gone, the relationships are gone. Their self-respect is gone. The suicide rate
Oh,
is astounding. So, as we're talking about risks, I've got to make sure people are aware of this, that they know the warning signs. There was a time when you just look back a few months ago, they were like, okay, get the person on a live video, like a FaceTime or some sort of live video chat. And if it's a real person and it looks like the person that you've been talking to, then maybe it's legit. Not anymore. AI has developed to a point that they can take that image and make it hard to tell that it is not that person actually conversing with you live, even on FaceTime and other media. So it's getting very hard to
mhm.
see the difference. And the warning signs are there. Often the profile, the person will have just a very minor online presence. Um, you can do things like reverse the photo and determine is this image like a model or somebody that's in a database of people that can be sort of manipulated into looking like real people that interact with you. You can reverse image like locations and figure out where they are. But even all of that research that people have done to try to protect themselves and identify these things earlier, the ability to fake those things is getting stronger. So it's very hard to know. So be aware. And if your primary relationship suddenly is somebody you've never actually met in person, just being willing to say, step back and say, is it possible that this is not real? I have been seeking, and if you know where I can find this, I'm very much trying to find somebody who has been in the middle of one of these scams and come out the other end with the purpose of helping others who are in the middle of these scams escape.